Okay. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Here we are. Here we are.
So, I'm Nick Flynn,
I'm Lili Taylor.
and we're going to do a little talk for Provincetown Arts. Is that what it's for?
Yes, about my book, Turning to Birds, coming out in paperback.
Or out in paperback?
Out in paperback.
Yes, yes. So we're just going to have a little conversation about this beautiful book. And it's about the craft of you writing it, is what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say, like, I'm so deeply impressed with the writing of this book. Like, just the language in the book is like really, really something. And this is, maybe you should let us know that this is your first book.
Mm-hmm.
You never wrote a book before.
Mm-mm.
No. But maybe you could tell us a little bit about how it led up to this, your relationship to writing until this moment, how you managed to create this book in a relatively short amount of time. A couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
really, of writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so maybe you could say a little bit about your relationship to writing before.
Well, first of all,
yeah.
this means a lot to me coming from Nick, who's a beautiful writer who I've been, of course, reading for 2 decades now, and I just love your writing, so that means a lot to me, because you have your radar for honesty and for truth is your radar is good. So it means a lot to me. Watching you through the years has been great. Watching your process, mostly Nick's process of being open to whatever comes in, not judging the writing, knowing that a lot of it's probably not going to be used maybe for the book, but who knows to trust that it's not for naught. And I had been writing for years in different ways. Plays, I always thought I could only do dialogue. So I'd written screenplays, plays, things that felt more in my wheelhouse. And then...
and how long were you been doing that for?
Probably since I was 18.
Writing plays and writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
I think that's the thing too, because it seems like this is your first book, of prose directly like this, but you have been engaged with language your whole life.
Yeah. And I think that, and I'm gonna get to a point here that I think is a nice point, and that then through seeing some of the exercises you'd been doing through the years with students, like 7 minutes of straight writing, meditation before, I'd been doing that for years, never quite knowing where it was going or trying to push it into some place that was just an idea. So all that to be said, that I had written a one-woman show about the same stuff that this book is about. And my manager thought I should meet a book agent. So he introduced me to a book agent. The book agent said, "Why don't you write me an email about a bird you've seen?" And so I did. And that's a great way to start writing, because it's sort of like if I was a parent, sort of, not tricking a kid, but like, trying to tone down the alarm of a situation for a little kid who couldn't handle that kind of alarm or intensity.
Well, I think anyone who thinks about, like, I'm going to write a book would be very intimidated.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's an intimidating thing to think about. Just like, how do we possibly go from this getting one sentence down, one word down, to a book?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so, if it's hard to kind of pretend you're writing an email to somebody, but any sort of way, I think one can get around that initial way in, if it just keep it simple, keep it manageable, just the book agent was so smart to just say one bird, you know, as opposed to why does birding make you feel so good. So anyway, my point is that as I started writing, I had a very good editor, and I asked her for some words of wisdom before I began, and she said to just ask yourself, what are you gifting the reader? And I think you and I have actually disagreed by that a little bit, but for me it helped, because what it did for me was I had to keep remembering that someone was going to be reading this. Just one person, but that to make sure that my thoughts were being communicated and that person could understand, because I can have a tendency, I'm an introvert, I can have a tendency to stay in here and to not, like, in fact, a lot of the notes were, but describe it, because I was so in my head that I forget sometimes that the reader needed some help to know what I was thinking or feeling. And now, as I started writing, all of the years of all of the different things I had been doing that I didn't think had any purpose, all of a sudden felt like, I see. It helped me trust experiences and to just, that we know a thing or two.
I think that's really interesting, because it does feel like one of the great joys, ideally, of creating anything is when you reach a place in your life where things that seem disparate in your life become integrated and sort of become oh, I'm always doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was always like, all this was leading to this. I just didn't know that. I didn't know it was leading to it.
It's deep.
And I really get that from the book too. You really get that sense of someone who's, you know, you're acting, because it also brings up your acting in this. It brings up your family in this. It brings up, you know, your childhood in it. But it all sort of like just feeds into it, and then it's always, you know, but the whole focus of it is your relationship to birding, but not your relationship to birding, like how birds are, like, you know, connected to everything in the world. Like this web of connection that sort of comes out of it, you know, which is really quite beautiful. But I think for a craft thing, you know, we have to figure out how you got to that. I mean, it's like, it really is like sort of magical. The book's kind of magical. It's very simple, like the language is very simple, and then you'll sort of like suddenly shift into like some really deep philosophical ideas, but like sort of like then sort of just drop them off, and then just talk about like, oh, I'm having a cup of coffee and I'm lonely sitting in a cafe and thinking about this, and then I go and see this bird. But like to get that balance, that pulse between those things is really very hard to do, to get that. So yeah, maybe like I really am quite amazed that you did this in 2 years. But it is like you said, like that whole play, you worked for 7 years maybe on that play, the one woman, the monologue, and a lot of that sort of comes in here also. You know, things I recognize from the play, and before that, even the you know, working on the screenplays, like trying to adapt a book for a screenplay, and like sort of this, you know, the book you chose is also about childhood and about like these you know things, and so I think it all feeds into this. It really is like really feeds into this. Yeah, and yeah, like I'm trying to think of how to ask the question.
I think I know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do know. And I'm loving everything you're saying. A couple of things. George Saunders, Swimming in a Pond.
A swim in a pond in the rain.
A swim in the pond in the rain helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Vernal Klinkenberg.
Several short sentences about writing.
Several short sentences about writing.
Yeah, which are also two of my sort of go-to texts for a craft of writing. Yeah, both of those.
Yeah.
Are amazing.
Yeah, and those two helped me a lot. Saunders and Cal Newport, who wrote a book called Deep Work. He also wrote a book called Slow Productivity. How to get things done, but in a deep way. And so at the beginning of each week, I look to see, I need to get a certain amount of deep writing sessions in. And
Can you say what a deep writing session is?
sure, it's about 45 minutes. I put some music on, which can change with whatever I'm doing, but whatever's going to sort of help kind of enter me in, help usher me in. And so it's almost like a ritual for myself. Like I know the music goes on, I set a timer on my computer for 45 minutes. Everything goes off. Only things related to the book. I can go online and search, but it's got to be connected to the book. And so for 45 minutes, and then I take a break. And I can take a break for 5 minutes. I can keep going if I want. I can take a break for 15. I can take a break for 30.
Why do you take a break?
Because you need it when you're concentrating so hard. I think it's important to know that it's okay. You went hard. Now you can just take a breather, walk around. You get a break. Well done. Pat yourself, and then and now we're gonna go back in again. And because it's so concentrated, you kind of need like to space out. Just fucking stare at a tree or something, or play a video game, which they found is very good to do. And then go back in for another 45 minutes. And then take another break, and then if you can, go back in for another 45. And I would try to do 2 to 3 45-minute sessions at least. Gosh, I mean, I would try to get, let me see here. I'm visually looking, because I put my deep work in red, in like red pen, and I color the block red. And so I'm looking at all my red sections through the year of and making sure I get in maybe, I don't know, 7-8 hours of deep work.
That's what they call the Bible. They have a version of the Bible where they've highlighted in red what Jesus actually said.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
The red parts, yes.
The red parts.
So that must be your.
Oh, the red parts. So my
some deep work. Yeah.
My deep work is the red part. So basically, prioritizing my week around those writing sessions, because I found if I don't do that, then the week all of a sudden it's like Friday. I'm like, oh my God, I haven't written. Oh my God, the week's over, and then wait, the year's over.
And you were able to write though, because being an actor, your work life waxes and wanes. Like sometimes you're not working for a few months, and then suddenly you're working really intensely. But you managed to still get this book done. You were working during this time.
Oh right. In fact, you have
the whole section on it, on you being on set. Which I was just reading. Being on set. Yeah.
Right, on location. Yeah. And here's a picture. You won't be able to really see it, but I was on.
This is about this section that I'm reading.
No, this was prom night.
Oh, okay. That's another one. Okay.
Yeah, this was in Toronto, okay. And I was sitting against a big generator, and I have my little iPad, which was better to to write on when you're on. It's hard to take out a computer, and I knew I had 30 minutes downtime, and I was like. I knew that the writing I could do was more of like an editing writing, so I didn't have to generate and go in deeply. And but anyways, yes. And I somehow was able to get it in when I was working, though I took advantage of when I wasn't working. Then the big thing that helped me with George Saunders was George Saunders says, you read over what you wrote the day before. And when you stop and say, you go back and work on it until it's not,
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. And so you kind of take it, Vernal Klinkenberg, each sentence,
Mm-hmm.
and that made it manageable to me. And so I realized, can you put your computer down? Because when that thing moves, I can't. Mm-hmm. It's distracting for me. But so I found that just sentence by sentence, and I was kind of like, what I wrote yesterday, I'm like, oh my God, this is what am I saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is
But you allowed yourself to say it though too. The day
Oh,
before,
that's right.
which
That's
I think
right.
is really important. Like to allow yourself to say it and then just go back and make it a little bit better, and then let go of the stuff that's not working, and then just move on. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's how I did it.
Yeah. You also, I know, having, you would come home at the end of your writing day, and sometimes you were quite distraught by.
Even with the book, or when I was doing the one-woman show?
No, well, with the book too, I think.
Oh.
I think you were also like, there were moments where you were like sort of really feeling like how difficult it was.
Oh, and the loneliness.
The loneliness of writing, that being alone, you're writing this thing. Yeah.
That was hard.
Yeah.
I realized, because acting is very collaborative.
Yeah.
You're always around a lot of people. You're working with people. And I realized, writing the book, that I needed to make sure, see, I don't have a ton of friends, so I have it's an area I've got to work on.
You have very good friends, though.
But I have very good friends, but I need to cultivate, and I have a tendency to isolate and not pick up the phone. And I realized, for my sanity, I have to make sure I'm talking to people, or I'm not going to be in very good shape. So I went out of my way to cultivate relationships, so I wasn't so isolated.
And you thank them in the back too a lot.
That's
like
right.
Ada, checking in with Ada every
That's
day.
right.
Or
Marie Howe, Lisa Dwan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These really good friends.
That's right. Emmy.
But I think it's also like, I think part of writing any book, I mean, this is, a book ostensibly about like going and watching birds. How is that deeply psychologically affecting to someone?
Right.
Like, why would that be deeply psychological, as opposed to like a memoir about like a troubled child?
That's right.
But yet it was.
Right.
And there still was, because I think it was, you were having to, you do bring in your childhood into this a little bit. I mean, there's a little bit of your weaving in, your father working at the hardware store and stuff.
Or not working.
Not working.
At the hardware store.
Yeah.
Well, the thing I think you're getting at also is that if you get honest and really, really go into reveal yourself, expose yourself, share truly about yourself, it's scary. It feels vulnerable. It feels like you could be attacked.
You're being ultra present too. Like,
right.
You have to be really present to do this work.
That's right.
Like, in that moment. It's a really hard thing to do.
Very.
It's really, like, psychically hard. Just that. Like, whether you're writing about trauma or not.
That's
it's
right.
a difficult thing to do, to stay present for that long.
That's right. Exactly.
Just to be fully in the world. And I just reread the piece. This was, maybe I'll read a little bit of it. This is about you in when you were doing Outer Range and in, was it Santa Fe?
Yeah.
In Santa Fe. And I got so moved by it.
Aww.
And again, there's no reation to be moved by it, because you're just like in a
God.
hardware store buying like stuff. And this is like the photograph I took. This is Lil with Josh
Brolin
on the set of Outer Range. We also did a lot of writing. This is where this thing happened. I don't know if I can read the whole thing. It's long. I read quite a bit of it, but by the end of it, I got really choked up.
Oh.
But it's not like it's the quality of the writing or something. One day in April, I finished shooting early. I wasn't in my usual rush to get out of there after working a 15-hour day. Instead of walking quickly to my trailer to get undressed, I sauntered, and that's when I noticed 2 house finches flying in and out of this black metal thing attached to Josh's trailer, a device I later learned is called a transport hitch. I mean, just in this, like, I get moved just in reading this, because you're having to, like, you're going back in and you're sort of playing with time here. I later learned it was called transport hitch, but you're being so precise about stuff. And you're really like walking us through, like in this thing, you walk through it so precisely, like you're thinking of how to do it. And there's something about that was really moving to me. It was a pair, a female and a male. And you do this a lot. Like, you sort of start with just sort of casually say, hey, I'm just going to talk about my day and having coffee and not really sure what I'm doing. Then suddenly you drill down on these specifics of, like, and we learn so much about birds and birding and the natural world and, like, like all sorts of things, the flow of air current. And just yesterday, you saying, I was going to be riding my bike up to see a play, the 86, to see Othello. And it's a long way, and there was a heavy wind. And you're like, well, no, I have to know which way the wind's blowing. Like, you have an app that shows which way the wind's blowing, because that'll determine whether birds are coming. And I didn't know that. I didn't know you had an app that showed which way the wind was blowing. And I lived on boats for years. I don't have an app that shows the way the wind. I've listened to a radio note, but you were like, sort of like, oh yeah. So you see things now that other people don't see. in the world. Like you could just see things. You see where the wind's blowing. So
So I knew that your ride up was going to be hard.
And it was exactly true.
Headwinds.
It was exactly true, and it gave me hope because I rode up through. When I had some energy, I rode up like fighting the wind the whole way, and then it just was blown back the whole way. So I was like, "Oh, Lili was right." It was a pair, a male and a female. The male house finch has cadmium red feathers on his head and upper chest, with the gentle streaks of brown on the belly. Cadmium has orange undertones, giving the red a glow of brightness. The female has a base of beige-gray feathers with streaks of dark brown covering its chest and belly. Like this, this beautiful description of the colors of the birds. And then you're like, oh, and then you might think like, oh yeah, I've seen something like that. Or, this is what I observed. The male perched atop my trailer, situated right next to Josh's, and was eyeing the hitch. So I did too. The female flew out of the hitch, then flew away. She returned with blades of dried grass in her beak and alighted on top of my trailer for a moment, then flew into the hitch. I waited for her to exit again before barging into her space to investigate where she was flying into. I ducked to get a look under the thing and discovered a rectangular opening 4 by 3 inches. I reached my arm in, then down about 3 inches, and my hand touched grass. I grasped the grass, but was stopped mid-flight by the sound of the finch's panicked alarm calls to one another and to me. Sometimes when I get worried, I talk out loud, feeling helpless. My inside thoughts force their way out in the hope they can help. It was just me and the finches now, so I say, no guys, no, you can't build a nest there. I continued to talk and I resumed destruction of their new home, removing the grass. So you go on and they say that you say in quotes, the trailer doesn't live here. It moves when we move to a new location, like you're telling the finches. As I place the grass on the steps of my trailer, one of the finches flies in the transport hitch. No finch, no. It flies back out and then away. The second finch following. It's just, and then you have a whole long thing about going to hardware stores. You go to the hardware store to figure it out, and all the stuff you buy. And I was like so moved by it all. Like I was like, it's just like really like, just imagine you trying to seeing something. No one else is going to see this. The hitch, the birds would have just been killed. Like the birds would have just been completely. The teamsters would have come and just like pushed it up to a truck, and they would have been squished, right?
Yes,
they would have been completely squished.
Think about when the baby goes off in the hitch.
Yeah.
And the parents are out.
Yeah.
And they go back.
Yeah.
The baby's gone, and then the baby's starved.
I'm still crying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The hitch goes, but like just that like attention to detail, like and really like trusting us that like it's a thing that someone else could have written about it in a sentence maybe. I don't know how, but they could have just sort of like sketched it off really quickly. But you really like sort of give it by doing it somehow, by keeping us with it. It's somehow the tension keeps increasing, or just we're with you as you're building this sort of scene, like really staying with the scene, which I guess is what you do with acting too. Mm-hmm. Like you have to sort of have that same like trusting the specificity, like really the specificity, and letting it be like letting the specifics sort of like open up a whole other world. Like it reveals so much about you. It reveals about like then you have the relationship with Buddy, the guy that
the teamster
that goes and helps you.
Yeah.
You go to the hardware store, you get to reference your father at the hardware store. So it's sort of the whole world sort of starts circling around. There's one little moment of seeing a bird go into this little hole that no one else would have seen. Like no one would have seen. Yeah. Very beautiful. Yeah.
Like a portal.
Yeah, and it was a portal.
And it literally was a portal, exactly. That transports.
Yeah,
the portal transports.
Yeah. I'm not sure what to say about that, but at the beginning though, you had a thing too with a name I can't pronounce. That guy.
Oh, I'll help. Because I do how'd you say.
You know how to pronounce it?
Well, okay. I might. Oh, no, the Polish guy?
Yeah, come on.
No.
Big talker, yeah.
Oh, no, that I can't do. Sorry. And
okay.
how'd you say doesn't have it?
Yeah. I'll say.
Do you know how'd you say?
How? It sounds like one of those jokes. Like, I say, how'd you say? And you say, oh, pretty good.
How'd you say is HOWJSAY, and it's a website, and you can go on, and the guy says like last night.
How'd you say? Oh, it is.
How'd you say?
Oh, okay.
How'd you say? And like last night, I needed help with Detrius. detritus. And he told me,
We spent a lot of time doing this after.
and he told me detritus. Detritus. Because I don't understand why someone would know instinctually that it's detritus. No, that it's detritus.
Yeah.
And because to me it looks like it's detritus.
Or like epitome.
Or like epitome,
Yeah.
right?
Which
Anyway,
Maeve came up with
so
yesterday.
there's a great Polish guy.
Yeah, I'll read it. I'll read
Okay.
his name. I'll try his name. I won't get it right. I'll just read a little bit of this. This is at the beginning from the introduction, which is really beautiful also. And maybe you can even say for a second, like what an introduction does for the book, like how you thought about doing an introduction.
Mm-hmm.
Like what was its purpose?
Well, to give some more pages.
You needed more pages.
Yes.
Oh.
But
Okay, we can cut that. I had a page count.
Yeah. Word count. I was under word count. In a way, no, Nick, it was you. It was you who told me.
Oh, well.
Well, do go on. What happened? This is what happened. I had all the essays, and then I was reading some of my proposal to Nick, and somehow after I'd had was writing the book and all that, and I was like, I need more, and this describe, and Nick was like, well, you've got all this work here in the proposal. Why don't you can add this.
Mm-hmm.
And my editor said it too. It wasn't just you, actually. I'm sorry. It was both of you. But great minds think alike. Cut. And so, and I was like, really? Because it felt like cheating. And it felt like I'm just plopping something onto the book that's not earned.
Your
But
proposal was great. So
thank you. And it worked. In a way, it's good because it's sort of like I do need to explain why I even say in this why should I read a book about birds by this actress Lili?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Tell me why. And so I spend about 20 pages saying why I think you should give this book a try.
And you lay out your whole sort of philosophy about
Exactly.
about listening, about observing, about turning to birds, the power and beauty of noticing is the subtitle.
Yeah.
And you lay sort of out what you give your argument for it. And you have this too. I look up at a cloud. I try to see if I can identify and name it, but then I go to it. Then I let it go because right now I just need to look at a friggin' cloud without lifting a finger. Just looking at the clouds for the sake of looking at the clouds is a kind of play, and I need to play. And then you don't say it here, but I know that you became a member of the Cloud Appreciation Society. And did the whole went deep, and that clouds are now connected to birds and connected to the whole thing. So, but at this moment, you're saying that you just need to play, and then you come up with the name, the Polish.
I don't
name,
come up
maybe?
with the name.
Well, you write the name.
I
right
write
here.
the name.
Yeah, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the psychologist who coined the definition of flow, dedicated his career to the study of play. He did so for two reasons: because the subject of play related to another of his areas of interest, creativity, and because he felt confident that play is among the most positive experiences in life. Over time, he realized play was what the Greeks called an autotelic activity, meaning the whole purpose of the activity is the experience itself. He became convinced that an experience is worth having for its own sake.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. And I didn't even know there was a word for that.
Yeah.
Like that gave me encouragement. It's official.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that is what the whole book's about too. It's like it is about that. Another one of the great books on the craft of writing. I think I just taught this year again for the 5th time. Is Matthew Zapruder's Why Poetry. And it just goes into and he says, a poem. One of the things he says is a poem it isn't about anything. It's only about the experience you have while you're reading the poem. So it really is. You're present in that moment while you're reading the poem, and that experience you have. And everyone has a different experience at that moment. You have a different experience when you read a poem. Then 10 years later, you read it again. Then you read it again. You have a different experience every time. And that's what sort of this is about too. This power of noticing. It's just sort of being present in the world and sort of letting whatever is happening. And yours is, but the focus is on birds. But it gets into something much larger, just about how to live a life too, right? So.
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking of that too. With yours is like birds. Yours like birds are the cathectic object in this. It's like the thing that sort of contains so much emotional resonance for different things. And I just saw Othello, and I hadn't seen Othello before, And the cathartic object in that is the handkerchief that that Othello gives to Desdemona. His mother had made it for him, and he gave it to Desdemona. Desdemona then loses it. Iago finds it and then plants it on Cassio, and then then plants the seed of poison in Othello's mind. But the whole it just keeps moving through the play. This handkerchief keeps moving through the play, and it's like that too with the birds. Everywhere you go, you sort of sit. It's about being present, but it's also the focus of it is birds. But then the birds open up into this other, creates the whole story. Yeah. It's very good. Yeah. What else should we say?
It's been 30 minutes. I think we're great. And we love Provincetown. We love the Provincetown Arts magazine.
Yeah.
And this is just a pleasure.
This is really
it's
fun.
been a pleasure. Yeah.
And you should be there this summer.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Liz got a few jobs.
Which is very good.
The jobs are good.
Jobs are good.
And this, nothing against coming and reading at the.
Oh no, I want to, but I do need.
Might, yes.
I do, yeah.
So maybe
we'll
have
see.
to. I could dress up like you and go.
I don't know about that, but.
We could try it.
All right.
Okay.
I really hope this was recording.